Sisters Wilderness is located in north central Oregon, due west of the city of Bend. Our hike begins at the Lava Camp Lake Trailhead. This trailhead has substantial parking, but is quite busy during the week. The Three Sisters Wilderness is part of the Deschutes National Forest. This is a picture of our intrepid hikers at the beginning of the hike when we were clean-shaven and clean-scrubbed. We arrived at the trailhead at about 4 p.m. on Sunday and hiked just a mile and a half to North MATTHIEU Lake, which was our first campsite. After our short hike to North MATTHIEU Lake, we set up camp and had dinner. Monday began our first full day of hiking, which consisted mostly of hiking through the Pole Creek burn area.
All right, we are at the Camp Lake Trail junction, right at the edge of the burn area. Some beautiful flowers here, and a nice stream. There he goes. Walking the tightrope.
Monday night, we took about a 4-mile detour to DEMARIS Lake, where we could camp outside of the burn area. To get to our campsite, we had to cross an alpine stream that was formed by glacial runoff, which is why it has the milky white water. This was an interesting bridge to cross for one of our early stream crossings. When we made it to DEMARIS Lake, we found it was a beautiful alpine lake that had a tremendous view of Middle Sister in the background. Upon our arrival, we set up camp. First, Kurt with his camping hammock. And Mark with his one-person tent. On day 3, after returning the 4 miles of the detour that we took, we hiked out of the burn area and serendipitously came across a beautiful area called Golden Lake. About 4 miles after leaving Golden Lake, we came across Green Lake, where we would camp that evening. Our campsite on Green Lake was on a rise above the lake, and we had a beautiful view of South Sister with some great clouds that late afternoon. On day 4, we hiked past the south side of South Sister Mountain and began our ascent up into the Wikieup Plain. After hiking through the Wikieup Plain, we transitioned into the Douglas fir forest that most people associate with Oregon. As we hiked through this area, we appreciated the trail maintenance that's done by volunteers with clearing the fallen timber. After hiking past LeConte Crater, we encountered our first span of hiking on the Pacific Crest Trail. Along the way, Mark found some novel uses for the moss that grows on the trees. After a 2.5-mile stretch of the Pacific Crest Trail, we did a little detour onto a slightly less used trail that has a historic shelter. We ended up spending the night at the shelter, which has a tremendous view of the west side of South Sister. The next day, we hiked through miles and miles of blueberry bushes, and we were a bit disappointed at first that we didn't find any blueberries on the shrubs. Apparently, we were past the season for the fruit. We also came across a lot of elderberry bushes in full fruit. Right about noon, we came across a couple of scenic alpine lakes that had tremendous views of the Sisters. Along the shores of these lakes, we were pleasantly surprised that the blueberry bushes were still bearing fruit. So we were able to gather not enough for a meal, but enough to have a really great snack. As we made our way back to the Pacific Crest Trail, we actually encountered some real bridges across the streams. The Three Sisters Mountains, the North, Middle, and South Sister, also called Faith, Hope, and Charity, all have permanent glaciers on them, which made for tremendous scenic backdrops to our hiking. One of the nice things about this hike is there were plentiful clean water sources, whether they were the mountain lakes or the alpine streams. Even though they look clear, it's important to treat this water before drinking it to prevent Giardia or other types of infections. So after gathering our water, we would purify it with chlorine dioxide or aquamira. Aquamira is very small, compact, light, and easy to use. You just combine 8 drops of the chlorine dioxide, 8 drops of the phosphoric acid activator, let it sit for 5 minutes until it turns yellow, and then pour it into water and let it sit for about an hour. Of course, food was an important part of the trip, where we had such delicacies as mashed potatoes, cabbage, and Spam.
What's for dinner, Mark?
This would be couscous, mixed vegetables, and venison burger.
Let's see what it looks like.
Ooh, not very good.
Little
too much water.
After such a delicious lunch, we would sometimes take a little snooze in the shade of a tree. As we hiked through the obsidian area, we came across a beautiful waterfall that was fed by Sister Spring. And the water, drinking this water, was truly a fantastic experience. As we hiked through the obsidian area, the ground was littered with volcanic glass, which was really pretty to see, but a bit tough on the feet as we were walking. Day 6, our final day of hiking, took us through vast fields of lava rock that came from the volcanic activity, in this case from South Sister. These fields of lava rock are vast and are pretty substantial, and in some cases made for some interesting hiking up and down through the huge mounds of rock. We took a little detour of a couple of miles to scale a geological area of interest called the 4-in-1 Cone, which had a great view of North Sister with lenticular cloud. The view of North Sister from the top of the 4-in-1 Cone was absolutely fantastic. All too soon, we arrived back at the trailhead with our feet worn and dirty, but with a huge smile on our faces from an unparalleled hike.